Okay, I'll call the meeting back to order. Please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome everybody here this evening and those watching on cable. First item on our agenda is to sign the town election warrant. Mr. Prisco. Before we do that, I want to introduce our new recording secretary, Mary Lou Banker. We're glad to have her here.
Yeah, wish a long time.
Yeah.
And Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to sign the May 8, 2012 annual town election.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion?
Do we have to hold it? No, go ahead.
we can change it to one position.
There you go. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? John?
Witness all this?
Didn't get his badge out.
You ready?
Go.
Okay.
Okay, the next item we have is a joint appointment with the CPC.
Thank you.
Economic Development Committee. Mr. Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, I move to place in nomination the following name for appointment to the Economic Development Subcommittee for a term to expire on December 31st, 2014. Presently, the Economic Development Committee has 4 openings. In nomination this evening is Jonathan Kopelman, 3 Scotland Heights.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Delaney, second by Mr. O'Leary. Discussion, Mr. Delaney.
Mr. Kopelman was interviewed by Mr. Rooney, Mr. Hayden, and myself about 5 weeks ago. Prior to being interviewed by the 3 of us, Mr. Kopelman submitted an application, a resume, and I must say, in the 4 years I sat in this board, it was most impressive out of anyone that had submitted any sort of request to become a committee member on any committee in this town. He came forward. He spent probably about an hour and a half just tutoring us in what we could do in terms of bringing economic development. So I enthusiastically recommend Jonathan Kopelman for a position on the Economic Development Committee.
Thank you. Any other comments from?
I'd like to add that in all my years here in office, I've never seen a man come up for a job with such enthusiasm. This gentleman wants to take this town and do something with it. And anyone that doesn't recognize that and work with him with that is missing something great for this town. This gentleman comes from another style of life as he grew up in that kingdom. He's come over here and he's seen 2 ways of life. The way to live and the way you can live. And he sees this town in a light and stores that are vacant that can be used. And things that we don't even think of. We're kind of set in our ways here. And that's trying to, we're overwhelmed and we just let him take the floor. And as you get to know this gentleman, you're going to want to listen to him more often. He's a gentleman that's intrigued me to want this town to go farther. And I saw things that I was really sorry for. And I think we can both agree with that.
Thank you. That's Mr. Neil Rooney, member of the CPC. And the other gentleman made a comment, Mr. Chris Hayden. Please, we have a new recording secretary. She's not familiar with some of your faces. Please give your name and address.
But just to add that to the minutes, I think it was very interesting interview. Thank you.
Yes. Interestingly, prior to one of our meetings, or I should say after one of our meetings, we were talking about having people volunteer and step forward and so on. And Mr. Koppelman was in the audience that night. And after that meeting, after he heard my long dissertation, he came over to me and said that he's not here tonight. He was that night. He came up to me and he said he would like to volunteer. He had put in some information regarding another committee, but he had become intrigued by the Economic Study Committee and chose to participate in that. He sent me I told him to send me the information. I passed it on to Sean. So it just goes to show that if we speak enough about volunteerism within the community, hopefully more people will come forward. But his credentials were superb and fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other comments? We bypass the roll call vote. You only have one candidate. Okay.
I'm sorry?
We're going to bypass the roll call vote. We'll just, all in favor, raise your hand, please. Opposed?
No. That's someone who's what? Nate, you running for office? You're all in favor of this?
They're in favor of it too. They were impressed.
He picked up an extra couple of votes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to stay this evening.
Lady.
And Mrs. Romeo.
Mrs. Romeo?
You said gentlemen.
Oh, yes. You have to excuse me. I flew overnight. I got off the plane at 6:30 this morning, and I've been going flat out since. So.
Yeah, it's like,
I just drove there too.
Okay, next item on our agenda is the minutes of April 2nd, regular and executive session. Mr. Prisco.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve April 2, 2012 regular session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Any discussion?
Regarding the minutes specifically, no, but I think these are the minutes. If I can just have a moment just to get to this. Sorry. Skip.
Excuse us, we have other business. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Regular session?
Regular session.
The minutes are fine. I just have a question for one of the members. We can approve the minutes then.
Well, I have one thing on page 5. Under my comments, first bullet under page 5 where it says I had recommended creating a new tax relief program for the town, and it was actually called the Senior and Disabled Tax Relief Fund that I was recommending, and this says that it's low income and or seniors, and that's not what I was proposing. So I'd like to just take off the last part of that sentence to say, program for seniors and the disabled. If anybody has any objection to that.
No?
No. Motion on the minutes as amended. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous?
Thank you.
We have an executive session of the same.
Just make sure I grab that. Mr. Chairman, I move to approve April 2nd, 2012 executive session minutes as written.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Prisco, second by Mr. O'Leary. Any modifications? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous? comment?
Bill Reid, 17 Grandview Road. Excuse me.
Bill, if you're more comfortable, you can use that podium.
Doesn't matter. Here tonight representing the Land Utilization Committee, and I won't take up too much of your time, but I'd like to share with you a report that has been done for us by the Mass Audubon Extension Services regarding Eisenhower Pond Park. Can I distribute this?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. We contacted the Audubon Extension Services because they have people that do this kind of thing all the time, actually. They help towns evaluate the parcels of land that they own and help them take care of them or develop them or use them in ways that are consistent, of course, with the towns and the Audubon's philosophies. And so we had two people, actually. The author is Liz Newlands, and another guy that she works with, come out and take a look. And we walked the property actually a couple of times, and from that she came out on her own a couple other times, took pictures, cataloged the flora and fauna and so forth, and has come up with this report, she's calling it a trail plan, which is more or less consistent with what the Land Utilization Committee is interested in. We would like to keep the property as pristine as possible, make it accessible to those who like to walk in the woods, and try to limit as best we can the noisy ATVs that tend to dig up the other, the pristine areas around the vernal pools and around the pond and so forth. So the report is here. Feel free to look at it, and we can schedule another time to discuss it if you'd like. I've given the same presentation to the Community Planning Commission, and I will be talking to Conservation in a couple weeks.
Can you give us a little bit of idea, or now that you have this plan, what you're seeing downstream?
Sure. What we'd like to do is develop some of the trails. There's a few trails they're already there, but they're not very. They've never been maintained, so there's trees that have fallen over it, and there's a small amount of garbage here and there. But we'd like to make those trails that are already there more accessible for those on foot. Clarify where people should park. Put up a couple of signs. Again, we're working with CPC and probably the neighbors. We don't want to be too intrusive. And in general, make the park a pleasant place to visit. That's the goal.
Any questions? Steve?
Yeah, as liaison to the LUC, I find that they put a lot of efforts into the properties that we have around the community, and in this case, it's a passive environment that we can use to do trails and so on. They're beginning to look, obviously, at the Smith property, and you can see opportunities there as well. So I think a lot of credit, a lot of effort has gone into this program for the trails within the town. So these are things you don't see. You drive by in your car, you don't see trails or anything like that. But it's a unique character of North Reading that we have. So they're doing a fantastic job.
I'm just happy to see that we've purchased the land, and I think what's being proposed isn't necessarily big dollars either.
No,
Yeah,
we're not asking for any money.
Yeah, which is a terrific thing. And one of the reasons we took it again was passive recreation, and this is a great proposal. I appreciate it. I look forward to airing out the proposal at a future date.
Certainly. Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
this to our attention. Next item on our agenda is a change of manager at the North Reading Christopher Club. Mr. Delaplanis.
Well,